Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to do a September orchid update for the greenhouse. I'm going to let you know what's going on with my orchids and how I take care of my orchids for the month of September. So it is getting actually close to the end of September now. It's got a week left and September is actually over, so it's almost an October update, so it's an end of September orchid update. And what we're going to talk about today is how I'm starting to treat my orchids a little differently for September. Now the nights are getting cooler, the weather, as I don't know if you can hear, it's raining, so the pitter-patter rains on the greenhouse now. The days aren't quite so bright, and yet I still have some orchids that are going to be outside for a little while still, while they're developing their spikes for the wintertime. So let's get started on that, and we'll take you through everything. Alright, so here we are for September, and as I say, I really hope that you guys can hear me with the rain falling right now. As you may have noticed, I've started to increase the lighting in the greenhouse. I need to do that for the wintertime as the days get shorter. So there's going to be a lot of orchids that are going to grow under lights for the wintertime. This has already started over here. There's some penned-in complex fluorescent bulbs. This area here is on the warmer side. Anything up near the front door is going to be warmer than at the back. So because the heater's up here, I keep all the warm growers up here. Some of these orchids are sitting on heat pads. That just ups the temperature a little bit more. I don't have the lights on right now because if I did, it would affect the camera. Temperature in here right now is 70 degrees. It's about 90% humidity. At night in September, I can expect the nights to start cooling down. Greenhouse temperatures fall into the mid-50s. It will get a little bit cooler for the winter time, but I'm already noticing that some of the fall bloomers are setting spikes. So in this area, you're going to see mainly frags, paphs, and there's some species orchids here, some species phalaenopsis or primary hybrids. Nice thing about species is they do have a scent to them. This is a beautiful red phalaenopsis here. And this one is Phalaenopsis cornicervae. Another beautiful Phalaenopsis here. So these guys, they get reasonably bright light in the wintertime. Even though the temperatures are dropping, the Phalaenopsis seem to do just fine, so I'm not worried about that. Bloom there. Now, with all the Phalaenopsis especially, they're starting to throw out spikes this time of year. Any of the winter bloomers are going to throw out spikes. So we looked at that one last week. Here's another spike here. Let's see if we can find any other spikes going on. Oh, I see a spike down here as well. So there's a spike right there on a Phalaenopsis. So most of the phals are going to be starting to spike. Spinning around this way. Here is the Vanda orchid. It's still growing, going strong. It should be blooming for quite a while. Any of the ones that spiked in the summertime, I'm enjoying those blooms now. So there's a dancing lady Oncidium. It has several spikes on it. There's at least 4. This is an Ontoglossidium here. Ontoglossidiums are going to love the cooler temperature, so once this is done blooming, it's going to be just in time for growth season. This is a Miltassa orchid. Look over here, that's a Wilsonaria. That's a type of Oncidium. There's another Culminaria wildcat just starting to open. This is Maxillaria. Dendrobium. This is a Calianthe. This one's beautiful. Look at this spider orchid here. So this is a Brassa orchid. Big, huge spikes on it. Look at the size of those flowers. They go down my wrist and way up above my hand. They're just about a 2-foot flower on those. So I have one flower, and then there's another spike here. Now what you're seeing here is all the ones that spiked in the summertime. There are some others that are coming into spike. There's a Dendrobium phalaenopsis. That is an antelope Dendrobium. There's a Lilea spike. The vanilla is doing good. Here's its new growth from the vanilla. It's growing a 6-inch shoot on it since the last video. Now with the dropping light levels and the cooling temperatures, unfortunately I'm going to eventually have to start bubble wrapping the greenhouse a little bit just for the hydro bill. And that's going to reduce light even further. So what you'll see for October is even more lights into the greenhouse. This is a Dendrobium. That is Dendrobium habicki. Dendrobiums are interesting. They are going to fall into 2 categories at this point. I'm going to swing you around to look at some of the Dendrobiums here. Dendrobiums are going to fall into a category that doesn't like to be watered for the winter and needs a dry winter rest, and ones that keep growing all winter long. So Dendrobium phalaenopsis is a good example of one that likes to grow all winter long, likes to have warmer temperatures, and we're still going to water it, although the watering will slow down slightly. Ones like Dendrobium harvianum, this guy here, this is a Dendrobium nobile, quite a large one, several feet tall, quite a big plant. These guys are going to like the dry winter rest. Now, they're also going to like a cool drop in temperature. Most of the Dendrobiums that like that dry rest come from the foothills of China into the Himalayas, where this time of year the skies actually start clearing, even though it's cooler, and they go for months and months with cool, bright skies, very little cloud cover, very little rain. So we keep those ones as dry and as bright as we can. And a good way to remember that is I don't water those sort of Dendrobiums from Halloween until Valentine's Day. So they're going to have another month or so of water, and then I'm going to start to withhold it. The only time I'll water them is if I see the canes shriveling. Otherwise it's tough love, but it results in good blooms for next year. Now, because it's raining, I'm not going to take the camera outside to film what's outside, but outside we're getting nighttime lows of about 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 13 Celsius, and right now there's still a few Dendrobiums outside. Nobile Dendrobiums are going to stay out until basically there's frost. All of the Cymbidiums are outside right now. It's important that, because in North America anyways, our winters are cold and wet, it's important to control the water that hits your outdoor orchids. You're going to want to keep them dry. Don't let them out in the rain. When an orchid is cold and wet, it is going to rot. If an orchid is cold and dry, it will be just fine. So they're all just slightly under the eave, so nothing can get wet unless I water it. The Cymbidiums are going to stay out probably for another month or so. The only time I will bring them in is if there's going to be frost, and that is how they're going to set their winter spikes. Some orchids, like the cool growing Draculas, Masdevallias and such, start to really flourish this time of year. Here is a Dracula in bloom. That's a Dracula bella. Dracula lotax. It's supposed to be one of the easiest ones to bloom. Let me see if I can zoom in on this spike there. That is a Dracula lotax spike. First time it's bloomed for me, and this was the first Dracula orchid I ever owned. I bloomed ones that have been much tougher and supposedly harder to bloom long before this guy. Masdevallias are down below here. They're grown on the east-facing side of the greenhouse, so they do get morning sunshine, but they also are grown under lights this time of year. they're really going to enjoy the cooler temperatures. Being lower down, they're going to experience cooler temperatures than anything that's higher up in the greenhouse. Oops. And so I can expect to have a lot of massivalias starting to spike and blooming through the winter time. I can already see a few spikes starting here and there. Anyways, guys, the cooling trend has begun for my greenhouse. The preps for winter have started. The heating system is now on to make sure it doesn't drop below 52 degrees in here. So that is the September greenhouse update. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching.